Alright, people are joining. Hello, hello. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm gonna give it just a little longer. We're doing all right. Hello, welcome everyone. Hello everyone. How's it going? Yeah, there's I would stream something more interesting on my screen, but I don't have anything more interesting to stream, so you're getting what I can see. I'm doing alright, Sophie. I'm fine. I'm just... Well, the title of the stream says it all, doesn't it? I'm fine. My family's fine. Everything's gonna be okay. It's just tiring trying to, trying to do everything and just kind of keep everything running as normal when nothing's normal right now. Like I said, I'm alright. I'm trying to distract myself. I got a couple projects done or in the process, which is nice. I finished a diamond painting, which I posted on my Instagram. It's really pretty. I can't wait to be able to get a frame for it and hang it up because it's really nice. I cleaned my room a little bit today, although you wouldn't know it by looking at it because it's still a mess. And yeah, I've got, I guess the one good thing about me being the closet hoarder that I am is that I have plenty of things to work on when when this situation arises. I have baskets upon baskets of fabric that I can use for projects. I have, plenty of stories that I can write. I have plenty of books that I haven't read yet, but just wanted to kind of, I guess, update you all on where I am and what I'd like to do, and what I expect will get done and all that kind of stuff. Whisper, I don't live in Australia. I live in the US. Obsessed Fander, this stream isn't about anything specific. Really, anything you guys want to talk about, I'm pretty much down. If you want it to be a Q&A stream, if you want it to be like talking about Sandersides, if you wanted to be talking about not Sandersides, I'm honestly down for whatever, just as long as it's not what's happening in the world. Sophie, my Instagram is just @DragonSaphira. No underscores, nothing like that. It's just @DragonSaphira. I can't guarantee how much I'll be posting because I don't really use Instagram all that often. But I guess if I start drawing a little more and if I start making different projects, I'll definitely definitely make some more posts, because that seems like a good place to share. Have a good night, or day, or whatever time it is for you. Alright. Well, I guess if there's any questions that you guys do have, feel free to ask. We can talk about, we can talk about the writing contest that I'm hosting. We can talk about, I don't know, different... Sure, let's talk about the competition for a little bit. Well, I've already gotten a couple submissions, which I'm really happy about. I have gotten a few that have not followed the email guidelines. And so I've reached out to those people and I've asked them to resubmit with those guidelines. So I guess if anyone is currently working on a submission, just make sure. I will be posting probably the link to the Google Doc again in maybe a couple days, just so everyone still has it. But yeah, make sure to check those guidelines, because it is something that I am focusing on, and I will, your submission might get disqualified if you don't follow it, depending on how far off you are. So yeah, I guess just, the guidelines, they're not super complex. If you have any questions on like certain things, feel free to like leave a comment on one of my community posts. It can even be the one announcing the stream. I don't really care. I'll try to get to it. I think I've answered this before. My favorite side, it's a toss-up between Logan and Deceit. Depends on the day. Oh god, Deceit and Remus as puppets. Well, Remus would definitely be just as extra as Roman, if not more. His puppet, I feel like if Remus had been introduced at that point, they would have like constantly been updating their puppets like to one up each other. I could just constantly see like, oh, I added glitter onto mine. Well, I've made my eyes much better and whatever. So I can definitely see them just like competing with each other with that. And Deceit, I don't know what he would look like, honestly. I can see Deceit kind of being similar to Logan, where he wouldn't want to participate in it at first. And then, I don't know, eventually he would probably do it. I feel like he would probably not go with something snake-themed, because, I don't know, the way I read him, like, I think this snake thing is more of what Thomas sees him as rather than what Deceit wants to be seen as, So I feel like if he could choose to not be a snake, he probably would. I don't know what he would be, if it would be, I don't know, I think him as like a, oh god, I don't know, like a marionette puppet could be cool. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I have like a doll AU that I've done a little bit of stuff for, like world building for, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna expand it at all. But him being like a marionette doll would be interesting. I don't know. We'll probably never see it, them as dolls, but that would be a cool thing for like an artist to draw if someone wanted to get on that, because that would be pretty cool. Rainbow, any plans for stories about other fandoms? I wouldn't say concrete plans. I definitely have ideas. Not necessarily like full-on fics, because I just don't have the energy for that right now, but possibly like some more bullet fics, or possibly even like over this quarantine period, I really want to hone my drawing skills, and one of the AUs that I have is for Fairy Tale, and it's basically like an alternate universe that takes place after the Tartarus arc? So it's pretty late. Basically nothing after the Tartarus arc is canon. And instead, basically I have a whole guild of like OCs that I would have them face, and it would be really cool, and I want to really draw them at some point. So I have that. I have a couple of other just kind of like less full-on fic ideas, but more like headcanon ideas for different series, but nothing concrete as of this moment. Who do you think the next new side will be? Well, I think that if it's anything, I've sunk too much time into imagining Obsession to think of the orange side as anything else. I've seen Anger a lot. I have seen that. I personally don't think that is gonna be all that he is. Anger might be a facet of the orange side, but for one, Logan is the one with the temper. Like, he has a bad temper compared to all the other sides. Roman kind of does too, but like Logan's really bad. And also, the sides are parts of Thomas, right? Like, they're parts of his personality, and Thomas is not a very angry person. Like, he is self-admittedly like kind of a person, like, he might get like righteously angry, like, it, you know, in situations where he's like, you know, angry for someone else, but he kind of strikes me as a person who doesn't necessarily always like stick up for himself in the moment. That sounds bad, but like, I don't know, I guess from what I've seen, not just in Sander sides, but like him as in general, I feel like Anger cannot be all that the orange side is. Again, it might be a facet of it because everyone has some degree of anger in them, but I feel like it's not enough of Thomas's personality to be its own side. So that's my thoughts on it. Vander Forever, I like to write, but I struggle to force myself to stick to a story until the end. What do you do to fight this? Ha! That's funny. You think I stick to stories. Okay, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I Am Creativity was the first fanfic in my entire fanfic career that I actually finished and posted and was actually proud of. Technically, it's the second, but the first one was more in script form, and that doesn't really count because I was like half RPing it with someone else. So, I'm not the best person to give you advice on that, because I'm really bad at sticking with projects. I guess really the one thing I can, I do fluctuate between projects a lot though, so I will say kind of have things that remind you of it, not necessarily just like, you know, just what you've written itself, but like if you have a certain playlist that you like imagining certain scenes to, if you have, you know, like a certain series that you like to watch that kind of gave you the idea for it in the first place, you know, kind of go back to those source ideas and kind of just let yourself go back into the daydreaming phase of the fic. Like, don't necessarily force yourself to be like, I need to get this down. What I would recommend is just go back to daydreaming, maybe get either like, you know, get a notes part on your phone, or like even get a physical journal. And just like anytime you think of like, ooh, that would be a cool character thing, or ooh, this would be a cute moment between these two, just jot it down in little bullet points and don't force yourself to write, and you might find that you're more likely to pick up that project again rather than just like getting stuck, because usually if you abandon a project, it's because you've lost interest in it and for one reason or another, and trying to rekindle that interest is probably the best way to keep with a project. What about sentimentality? I feel like that's kind of Patton already as a side. Like, he's obviously not all that, but like his room was pretty sentimental. So I I don't know. When you think about each of the sides, they have their title, right? Like morality, logic, creativity, whatever. But they represent more than that. So it's hard to try and pick out something because, well, one, we don't know Thomas, as a person. So all we know is from his personality is, what we see in videos, and he shares quite a bit, but obviously it's not enough. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint certain personality things because we don't know him on a personal level. And so I think that's why a lot of people find it hard to kind of guess the sides that are coming because, we don't know Thomas as well as his team does and as well as he does himself. So trying to find a side that has a little more depth to it, and not to say that whatever headcanons can't have depth, but I guess, not pinning something so narrowly that it can't be more, I guess. If you give it a very wide name to begin with, or a name that kind of bleeds into other things, it kind of helps, I don't know, helps it be more of a three-dimensional character. I was late. How come your world's on fire? Just because the world is on fire. All this quarantine stuff is everything's a mess. How long will this be? I'm not sure. However long people want to stay, I guess. Alright. Oh, I see some people are popping over at my my Instagram. Let's see, what else? I need to reorganize some things. I have too much stuff. I had to move all of my stuff out of my college dorm, and we actually still need to go back up tomorrow to get the rest of it, because I didn't have enough room in my car to bring everything down, so I have so much stuff. Like, I basically have enough stuff for 2 bedrooms, right? Because, I have my one at my parents' house, and then I have the one up at school, so, my room is just full of stuff, and it's honestly a little stressful. And I kind of, at this point, I have so many different things I could be doing that I end up just sitting around and doing nothing, and it's very frustrating. But I think I put my clothes away today, thankfully. They're all in my dresser and or closet now, for the most part, and I think that helped. I feel a little better after doing that today than I did before. So, what is your favorite food? Well, my favorite, singular object would be strawberries. I love them. I can eat, a whole 2-pound thing by myself if I want. It's probably not good for my stomach. That's a lot of acid, but I don't care. If we're talking meals, I really like, my mom makes, really, really good meatloaf. It's I know that might sound weird, but it's not really the gross meatloaf that you imagine on school lunches. No, it's not that. It's ground beef, and has this ketchup, mustard, brown sugar mixture on top of it, and it's baked, and it's really, really good, and there's cheese in it, and it's delicious, man. I love that. Yes, I am 21. Are you into any Sarah J. Maas books? No, I've heard of her, and I've definitely seen those books, but I have never really gotten into them. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time or extra energy to read. Through the past few years, ever since I kind of graduated high school and moved on to the real world, I don't have as much time, and it sucks. I don't know. I've heard that they're kind of good, but I've also heard mixed things, so maybe I'll pick one up at the library at some point when things die down. Do you like boba? like bubble tea, I'm guessing that is. I'm not the biggest fan. It's mostly a texture thing, though. Not necessarily... I've never really had it. I haven't had it too often, but I'm not really a fan of the bubbles. They're not great. I've been so thankful through this whole thing because a lot of the fan fictions that I read are suddenly getting updated again. Yeah, I have a Beauty and the Beast AU that I haven't read on the channel because it's not finished, and I didn't know when I was going to finish it. So I never touched it, but now I'm kind of wondering if I should go back and like kind of rewrite some of the chapters and continue that, because now I know exactly how Logan would feel as you know, Beauty stuck in the castle. Like, I think maybe I could capture that essence pretty easily now. Do you like anime? Yeah, I do. I wouldn't say that I'm like an otaku or anything. I definitely would have considered myself that like a couple years ago. I watch anime. I've got nothing against it, but I don't watch anime just because it's anime, if that makes sense. Like, a show really has to pull me in order for me to really want to watch it. Recently I've mostly been rewatching shows. One, because I don't really have any good streaming services that have a lot of anime on them. Like, I have Netflix and I have Hulu, but like those aren't great for anime, and most of them are subbed, which isn't great if you're trying to do something else while you're listening to it. So I've basically been just rewatching some of the shows that I like. So I'm rewatching Sailor Moon Crystal, and I just rewatched Psycho Pass and a couple others. Do you know Carol and Tuesday? I've seen clips of it on Tumblr. I have not watched it. Like I said, that one I think only has a sub right now. So I've heard it's really cute, and it looks really cute, and the style's adorable, and Carol and Tuesday look adorable. I don't know, maybe I'll get around to it. It looks cute. I want to watch it, but I haven't. Jumpers or jackets? I'm assuming jumpers is like pullover sweatshirts. Jackets or like zip up hoodies, because I don't like pulling things over my head. It messes up my hair, and it also like taking them off is a pain in the butt. Because like if you're not really careful, like you'll just flash your bra to people because you like just pull your shirt up with your hoodie, and I hate it. So anything with a zipper or that I can just kind of take off or wear open or whatever. Also because I overheat really easily, so I like being able to have layers that I can take on and off as I warm up and get cold. Who would the sides be as Sailor Moon characters? If we're going 1-to-1, okay, well, Logan would be Sailor Mercury. That's pretty obvious. I think Patton would probably Sailor Moon. 'Cause, yeah, I mean, he's the most, like, emotional out of all of them. He's not really a crybaby, but, like, he's the closest to it. Let's see. Venus. Roman is Sailor Venus, for sure. Deceit would probably be Tuxedo Mask. I know he's not a Sailor Guardian, but, like, close enough. And then let's see, Virgil and Remus. Remus doesn't Remus doesn't really fit any of them. Maybe Mars, because Mars and Sailor Moon have issues with each other. And then I guess, I don't know who. No, okay. So I'm not gonna go just with the main Sailor Senshi because that doesn't work. Virgil is definitely what's her name? Hotaru, Sailor Saturn. I feel like that works really well. In which case, can Remus be Chibiusa? Oh no. Honestly, that kind of would fit though. Like my child Remus. Like the version that I have. Or no, maybe, I don't know. I would have to think about it. I would really have to think about it, but yeah. God, I would need to think about it more to figure out who would actually fit, but I think listen, Remus doesn't fit the pure aesthetic of Sailor Moon. I'm sorry. There's no, I don't want to put him as a villain, so I can't do much about it. Wait, that would make him Patton and Deceit's child. Wouldn't it? Because yeah, it would. It would make him a Moseat child. That's kind of funny, actually. Besides as My Hero Academia characters, I haven't seen My Hero Academia, so I can't help with that, unfortunately. Do you like Child Remus, the idea of how you do it, or normal Remus? I like both. I think Child Remus became, normal Remus, and it happened for a reason, and I really like exploring both how Child Remus, acted as a child, and also what led him into becoming the Remus that we know. That's definitely something I'm going to be exploring probably in the next fic that I'm working on, because Roll Swap just has a lot of information in it. I'm trying to make it so that you don't need to have read I Am Creativity in order to understand both Remus and Valentine's / Otto's backstory. So there will probably be a lot of chatter about Child Remus and the split and Valentine versus Otto and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, in terms of writing, I like writing Child Remus more because I'm very bad at dirty jokes. But yeah, in terms of watching / enjoying, reading, whatever, adult Remus is fun. I just struggle with writing him. Would you consider writing a Sanderside Sailor Moon AU? I mean, if there was a story behind it, I don't think... I mean, right now, all I have is just a mental image of Remus as Chibiusa, so there's not really a story behind that. I mean, I'm open to really anything, but I don't have a story for it, so I wouldn't at this point. In a human AU, what do you think is the weirdest thing Remus would have safely eaten? Well, he's definitely eaten a lot of bugs, for sure. He probably also tried to eat a Tide Pod. He had to really force himself. He had to use all of his self-control and probably Roman's self-control as well to keep from eating that Tide Pod. I feel like Remus almost in his cravings would kind of be the way a pregnant woman is, where she just combines random combinations that the foods themselves separately are fine, but together you're just why? I don't know, Skittles in ramen or something like that, something that you would never think of, but he just is, he'll be sitting at the table, kitchen table, that's the word I was looking for, and he's just eating it, and Roman walks in and is just oh God, what are you eating? Yeah, in a human AU, that's what I imagine. In Canonverse, I imagine he's eaten pretty much anything that he can, because I kind of headcanon that the dark side of the mind doesn't really give them a lot of food. They have a kitchen, but the appliances are kind of all dead, and they don't really work, and they can't really summon food, and it's kind of a crapshoot what they'll find in their cabinet day to day. And so Deceit and Otto, and Virgil too when he's there, just kind of decide not to eat, basically, unless something edible shows up in the cabinets. But Remus is just like, oh man, there's like deodorant here this time, sure, I'll take it, you know. Next day there's like shampoo, and he's like, yeah, tastes great. Yeah, Remus is definitely one of those people who just like has really, you almost think that he just doesn't have taste buds because he just eats anything and doesn't seem to care. If you try sweet ramen, Tippy, you let me know how that is, because I'm not going to do that. Yeah, banana peels. He probably just eats the banana whole. Like, doesn't even peel it. He just eats it. He's like, why would you waste perfectly good peel? Just don't do that. With sweet potato noodles and roasted bananas. You know, sure, why not? He probably just throws anything he has in the cabinet into it. Yeah, I don't even want to think about all the things that Canon Remus has eaten. Like, God, I can't imagine. If you guys make it, let me know how it is. Honestly, I don't even really like ramen as it is, so there's no way I would do that. But you're free to try it if you want. I just came up with that in my mind. See, but isn't cheese and chocolate a thing? I thought that was a thing. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I feel like the canon sides would see Remus eating a glass plate with worms on it. Probably. There's someone outside my door. Yeah, probably. Honestly, all I can imagine now is that little clip in the bloopers where he just smacks the plate on his head. Oh, God. Man, I'm so excited for the new episode. I don't know when it's coming out, but I want it. I want it so bad. The boys need closure, and I need closure. Anyways. If the sides were food, what would they be? I don't know, man. That's a weird question. I have no idea. He's probably the type to drink that apple cider that is really sour and gross. Probably. Like I said, I think he just doesn't have taste buds anymore. Like, he probably... This isn't really a spoiler, but it's like a kind of a funny little side note in Roll Swap. But like, he has a jug of like kerosene in his room in my headcanon, and he uses it for both drinking and arson. So he will eat or drink anything. If Roman throws something out, I have a feeling it will end up in Remus's mouth at the end of the day. Yeah, definitely. Definitely, for sure, if you go with the idea that the twins share a room because they're both creativity, because they would share a room and a garbage can then, so that'd be really funny. It's probably not going to be the closure we are all craving. Well, it's going to be something, at least, because SVS did not end in a satisfying way at all. So it's going to be something. At the very least, if we can get Roman and Patton talking to each other, honestly, that's a start. That is a start. I will take that, because God, Roman has suffered so much. He has just not... Yeah, poor thing. What is your opinion on Short Logan? Kind of neutral. I feel like in terms of height headcanons, I usually put Patton as the shortest, and then Virgil is slightly taller, and then Logan, and then Deceit, and then I usually put the twins as tallest. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Deceit's short. I can't explain why. It's illogical, but I hate that headcanon with a passion. Deceit is tall, and then he also wears heels on top of it, so he could just tower over everyone. I don't know. I think it's because I relate so much to him, and I'm decently tall, but in terms of my family, I am really, really, like, I'm short. And so I don't like that. I don't like Deceit being like 5 foot. Like, I've seen some people do that, and I'm just like, why? I always make Virgil the tallest because Thomas has heightened anxiety. That's a fair point. I'm talking about human AUs here, because in Canonverse I make it so that they're all the same height. They're Thomas's height. This is mostly for Demigod AU, because that's the only one I've really decided their heights for. Patton is the shortest, and then Virgil, and then I think Logan, and then Deceit, and then Roman is like an inch taller than Deceit. And Remus hasn't been introduced, but he's probably the same height as Roman. Or he's like between Roman and Deceit, kind of like, because Roman is 6 foot in Demigod, so he's like between 5'11" and 6 foot. He slouches most of the time. Yeah, true. Like, I understand where most of the headcanons come from, like, and I can appreciate it, but I don't know. Short Deceit is just one of those things that I just vehemently dislike, and I don't know why. I headcanon the twins as in the middle of the group, but both wear heels a lot to seem taller. They constantly try to wear higher and higher heels to one-up each other. That is true. They would do that. But I think that headcanon's even funnier if they already are the tallest, but they're constantly fighting to be the tallest of the group. But yeah, they definitely would wear just heel, like, basically, it would get to the point where they're wearing stilts. They're not even wearing heels anymore. They would just be wearing, like, full-on stilts. And it'd be funny. Yeah, the twins would definitely do that, though. They would just, like, constantly try and make it so that they're the tallest. And it'd be very funny. But yeah, in canon, I think that they're the same height. Virgil looks shorter because he slouches, and Logan and Deceit look a little taller because they stand, like, perfectly straight with their back straight. But yeah, in canon they're all the same height in my mind, but in Demigod and in other human AUs too, I play with their heights a little bit more. Yawn. Trying to think. What else? I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Like, I'm at the point where, like, I almost need to take a step back, at least until the next video comes out, and see what that sparks in me in terms of motivation. Like, I have a fun AU planned, but it's not going to be on the channel, probably, because I'm not planning on really writing for it. It's not a fic, it's going to be an ask blog. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm tired. And not even, like, it can be fixed with sleep. I've been sleeping in. I'm definitely not physically tired. It's just... Random question number 3, fruits or vegetables? Fruits, for sure. I like sweet things. I have a sweet tooth. So I definitely like fruits. Like I said, I can smash a 2-pound thing of strawberries, no problem. I like pears. I like apples. Certain types of apples anyways. I don't know. I'm a really picky eater. That should be just kind of stated outright. I'm very picky. But yeah, if given the choice, I'll usually go for fruit. But yeah. Is this a Guardians Ask blog? Yeah, it is. It's the, I'm calling it the Royal Tutors, the Royal Tutors AU. So yeah, that's going to be like a full-on Ask blog. I've been making myself feel things by imagining certain scenes, and it's fun. The Dragon Witch is going to be in it. Creativity is going to be in it. Like actual creativity, but not creativity from I Am Creativity. It's hard to explain. How long does it take you on average to write a podfic? I don't write it specifically to be read. I write things to write things, and then I read them once they're done. For like Fluffyuary, you know, some of them I would finish in a couple hours. Some of them took a couple days to write. For I Am Creativity, you know, one of those chapters took months to write, like a month and a half or something to write. For Roll Swap, I still haven't finished that one, and that one's been going for months now. I'm making progress, but, you know, so I can't really give an answer to that because it really depends on what I'm on what it is. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. It's kind of one of those things though where I really like, I've said this before in the Discord, but like I really love world building. Like it's probably one of my favorite things to do. But for Demigod AU, I didn't really get to do that. I don't really get to do that. Like I can build characters. I have a whole bunch of OCs that you know run that are camp head counselors. That's the word. That are head counselors, but I haven't really gotten to introduce many of them. I think I've introduced Gabby and I've introduced Michael, and that's it, I think, in terms of OCs. But I have so many more. But the thing with that is I have a lot of people on YouTube asking me like, oh, you know, when is more Demigod coming out? When can we expect another? And the thing with that is I've had no motivation to write for it because the blog itself gets no interaction. You know, once in a while I'll get someone who goes through and likes all the posts, but then I get nothing. They don't get reblogged. I don't get an ask sent in to me. I don't really get much. So it's one of those things like, why would I continue working on something that it doesn't seem like a lot of people want or like? So I guess that's just my PSA. If you like something, if you like a content creator, interact with the source of it, and you're likely to get more than just asking for it somewhere else. Anyways, I saw some stuff, and now words are blending together. I just wanted to say I love your stories, and you made me finally start writing a fan story, so thank you. Nice! Yeah, you gotta start somewhere, you know? Random question 4, sleeping with or without socks? Without, most of the time, unless it's really, really cold in my room, in which case I will sleep with socks on. But for the most part, I sleep pretty light. Like, I'll just be wearing a t-shirt and, like, shorts when I'm sleeping, even in the winter, because I really like bundling up with blankets rather than having a whole bunch of fabric, like, more close to me, like sweatpants or something like that. So, socks, not the biggest fan unless I'm really, really cold, in which case, I will sleep with them on. Oh, God. Cats or dogs? Dogs. I like both, but I'm allergic to cats, mildly. So, I can spend more time around dogs, and they have more energy, which I need. So definitely when I move out, I'm gonna move into a place that allows me to have a dog because I want one. I want a puppo. Soft Logan or normal Logan? Depends. I don't really understand those questions because it really depends on the circumstances. Like, if you're writing a story that's supposed to take place in canon, it doesn't really make sense for him not to be, like, normal Logan, right? But, like, you know, soft Logan is really cute for, like, softer moments. So, I don't know. I think both have their place. Emil, I don't know where this came from. Emil Picani, cartoon therapy guy. My favorite soup, I don't really eat soup all that much, so I guess tomato with grilled cheese, because that's pretty much the only soup that I really eat. I actually had that for lunch today. Surprise, surprise. That's one of the things that sucks about that's stuck in the house. Like being stuck in the house. I already have issues eating lunch sometimes. And like, I sometimes just really crave a certain thing and that's all I want to eat and I don't really want to eat anything else. But yeah, anyways. Where did Emil come from? He's from Cartoon Therapy. I don't know where the inspiration for him came from, but he's from Cartoon Therapy, and then the fandom kind of adopted him as, like, just an addition, like, a secondary cast member to Sandersides, for, like, AU Fix and stuff. Because, I don't know, sometimes you need more cast members. Like, him and Remy are really popular. Emil doesn't stand for anything. Emil is just Emil. That's his name. Emil Picani. What do you mean? What do you mean? What would he stand for? Like, for morals? Or, like... No, I'm not saying that people think of him as a side. Like, well, I guess they hope they don't. No, I'm saying, like, in AU Fix, where, like, the sides are human, they add Emil and Remy into it because they just need more cast members in the AU. Not necessarily that he is one of Thomas's sides, because him and Remy aren't sides. That's the whole point. But they're fun characters, so people will take them and use them in other things because they're fun to write. Emil's basically like freaking Logicality Fusion already. Yeah, I used him in a couple things in Fluffuary. Like I said, you know, using him in as an extra in stories, and then obviously there were a couple prompts with him. I'm not the greatest at writing Emil and Remy. I guess that comes with practice, but I've never really had to write them. I can never figure out how to say his last name, but he says his last name in Cartoon Therapy. All you gotta do is just copy how he says it. Do you find these random questions interesting / funny? They're better than just reading out other random notes in chat, so yeah, they're fun. I enjoy them. You know, I put out the community post a couple days ago, figuring out like who would want a Q&A stream, and you know, there were like a couple people who responded, so it's fun to actually like get that going. Vote for Emil and Remy to be sides. No, we're not gonna do that because they aren't sides and they don't need to be sides. and they're better as characters for not being sides. I would definitely love like a non-canon interaction between Pikani and Remy and the sides, because I think that would be fun. Like if they did a short or something where the sides met their like short equivalent, that would be kind of funny if Thomas ever wanted to do that. But people have already bugged him enough about Remy being a side, or like wanting Remy to be a side, and people seem to forget that Remy, that's not even his canon name. He canonically doesn't have a name. We just gave him that name. Like his name is Sleep. He's a shorts character that appears a couple times, and a lot of his character development has come from the fandom. So it's really one of those things where, you know, things are good because they're separate sometimes. But I do enjoy fan content of the sides, like interacting with Pikani or Remy, because it's really fun, and I think that they get along super well. Or I've seen some where like Pikani is like, if they do the Steven Universe fusion, like the sides confused kind of thing, that Pikani is Logan and Patton fused, and that's pretty cool too. If anything, vote for more episodes of Cartoon Therapy. Yes, I agree with that. We were supposed to get a Spider-Verse one, and then I don't know what happened to that. I don't know if we're still getting a Spider-Verse one. I don't know if that got pushed or canceled or what. I have no clue. But I really want that, because Cartoon Therapy is so cute. And someone pointed out that Pikani has a Midwest accent, and I can't unhear it now. We don't really talk like that. At least I don't think so. His is just kind of, he's got like it's a really mild, but also, it's like a mild, intense Minnesotan accent. And it's, I have some friends that do have like a mild version of that accent, and it's really funny to hear it. Imagine if Thomas Sanders was watching this. I doubt it. If anything, like, I'm one of the smaller fan creators. I really doubt it. And even if he did, I'd prefer if he didn't watch my content, just because there's some weird implications there. How did the fandom name Sleep? Yeah, it came from REM sleep. Like on Tumblr, the fandom couple of years ago, I think now, we were like, all right, what do we name this character? What do we name Sleep? Well, and then someone, I don't know who, suggested, well, why don't we name him something along the lines of like REM sleep? And then Remy came in, and yeah, that's where his name came from. And then when Remus was introduced, it's kind of like, huh, great. Now how do we name, you know, ship names now? Hence why a lot of, most Remus ships are with either Duke or Intrusive or Intrue, because Rem is kind of already taken. If the dark and light sides got along, I can imagine Deceit and Logan standing in the middle of the room face-palming while Patton and Remus run around to the theme song. Yeah, those two would definitely have interesting interactions. I plan on doing a little side series of my roll swap AU, where, like, afterwards they, interact, and Patton and Remus is gonna be fun to write. It's gonna be terrible for me to write because I suck at writing puns and dad jokes, but I will do my best. Saphira said the S word. What did I say? What did I say? Random question number 7. What is your favorite sides video? SVS, probably. It continues to be the one that allows for the most theorizing. So it's still fun to rewatch. I do like dealing with intrusive thoughts too. It's fun. And I love Remus. I think people have even come up with a name for the GPS character. I know he's been called Giovanni a lot. Yeah, I think his name is Giovanni. And then people actually came up with a couple different names for the critic character. Like, within hours of that video coming out, people were already calling him names. It was so funny. I think you said spiders. When did I did? Okay. How do you feel about unsympathetic dark sides? I think that it can be done respectfully to the characters. Like, still keeping them in character, while making them, villains or whatever. I think it's possible. It's, in my opinion, not done very well a lot of the time. I think it's done lazily quite a bit. People just are like, oh, I need an antagonist. Oh, I'm just gonna pick one of the dark sides. Like, it's kind of lazy. And personally, like, I don't believe that they are anything unsympathetic in canon. Like, I understand why certain people might be uncomfortable with Deceit or Remus or whatever. Like, I get it to a certain point, but there are some people that are just, like, blame the dark sides for everything and anything, and, Patton and Virgil and Roman and Logan can do no wrong, and it's like, mostly Patton can do no wrong. There's, like, two camps with that. I'm not gonna really get into it, because a lot of people tend to just remove all of the nuance in all of the characters, honestly, and just kind of strip them down to their bare essentials and then pretend that that is canon. And it's annoying because it limits you, Like, I, have a Beauty and the Beast AU where Deceit is the antagonist. He's the Beast, and he's not nice to Logan at all. But in that same AU, Roman is also an antagonist, because he's in the place of Gaston. So, you have both a dark side and a light side acting in antagonistic roles. And it's just, I don't know. I think a lot of people spend so much time in fandom world that they kind of forget what's canon, and that shapes how they view the characters, and it's not always for the best. Random question number 8. Virgil as a cat or as a spider? Raccoon. I think. More than anything. I don't know what's happening to my chat. Everyone's just talking about spiders. I don't even think I said spiders. I must have, because people wouldn't be freaking out if I didn't, but I don't know what happened. Yeah, raccoon, for sure. I mean, I think that's another thing where I'm like, a lot of people, headcanon that the dark sides have animal forms and whatever, and, like, while I definitely agree that, like, they clearly have animalistic traits in canon, like, obviously Deceit has his snake face, Remus has this whole tentacle thing going on in his logo and with his belt buckle and whatever. I don't think I said spiders either. I think someone just quoted it and then I was confused. Yeah, I don't know. That's another trope where I'm kind of like, not the biggest fan of them being animals, because I guess it has weird implications, because, like, all of the sides can shapeshift. We know that. So why would only the dark sides have animal forms? It just feels like kind of degrading in a sense. I know people don't mean it that way, but I guess that's probably why I don't really necessarily like that trope all too much. I say that, and then, Deceit in the Royal Tutors AU is a shapeshifter, so that's different. That's different. He's not just the snake. He can shapeshift into other animals too. Random question number 9, morning or night person? Night person, for sure. Last night I was awake at like midnight trying to clean my room a little bit. Mostly just grabbing like stuff off of surfaces and like trying to dust them a little, and then like putting them into piles, like donate pile and like garbage pile or garbage bag at like recycle and stuff. Yeah, I get most of my energy at night, which kind of sucks because now, sorry, the hiccups. Because now I'm at home with my family on the same level. I share not exactly share a wall, but if I'm moving around, I'm going to wake up other people, and I don't want to do that. Tea or coffee? I don't really drink either. I've tried tea a couple times. It tastes like hot water to me. And coffee, I like the smell, but I feel like I would really need to drink it with just a bunch of sugar and cream and stuff in order to like it, because I don't like bitter things. But my dad drinks coffee, so I kind of associate the smell with just kind of being home up in the morning. So I guess in that sense, coffee, because coffee has a nice smell to it. But yeah. Do you like Steven Universe? I do. I think I'm caught up. The last episode I watched was Steven Universe Future. I think it was 14. The one where it just proves that he needs therapy more than ever. The poor thing, man. God, Steven has been through so much. I don't know how they're gonna wrap it up in like 2 episodes or something. Like, how many episodes of Steven Universe Future are there gonna be? Not that many. I know there's gonna be only a few more, and I don't know how they're gonna wrap everything up. Like, Steven's got like a whole freaking lifetime's worth of trauma to go through and like sort out. And I pity the therapist that he ends up seeing, because are they even gonna believe him? Like, but yeah, love Steven Universe. I kind of want to cosplay at one point. I had some AUs at one point. I actually did write a fic a couple of years ago. I wrote a Pearl and Amethyst fic. I still like reading that one back sometimes because it's cute. Coke or Pepsi? Neither. I don't really drink caffeinated things at all. So someone else asked Coke or lemonade. I'll go with lemonade because, again, I don't drink really any caffeine. I don't really like energy drinks. I don't really like caffeinated soda. So yeah, lemonade or like Sprite or orange soda, grape soda I like. Yeah. I mean, gems are pretty integrated into the culture, at least for his city. I don't think the therapist believing him will be a problem. True. It's true, but I also wonder, like, Beach City seems pretty small, like a pretty small community, so would he have to leave town in order, and like go a little further out in order to like find someone who isn't so close to the situation to not be able to help, if that makes sense. But probably at this point, Beach City has probably been a nationwide topic, let's be real, so I guess people believing him won't necessarily be a problem. Random question number 11. What does Coke and Pepsi taste like? Good question. I can't answer that for you. I have no idea what's happening in the chat. People making puns and references, and I'm ignoring them because they're having fun, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Yeah, Coke and Pepsi. I think I took a couple sips of them, like when I was a kid, or a teenager or whatever, and I don't remember what they taste like. All I remember is that I didn't really like it. And not even because of just the caffeine. I just don't like how a lot of caffeinated sodas taste. They're just not not really my thing. I was going to say not my cup of tea, but I don't really like tea, so that doesn't really work. I'm starting a dad seat AU. Oh. Sorry, thought I heard someone outside. Nice. Dad seat's good. I do enjoy it, although the way I write him, you wouldn't know it, because I never write dad seat ever, really. Oh my god, my leg is really itchy. I should probably grab some lotion, because ouch. I don't know, now people are singing Forbidden Fruit in my chat, and I don't know what's happening. Do you have hand sanitizer? A couple little bottles of it around the house. Were you there at the start of Sandersides? I was. I was never on Vine. Like, I never had, like, the app, or I never really watched it. I just watched, like, Vine, like, compilations on YouTube, and so I knew Thomas from there. And then when he announced that he was starting a YouTube channel, I was like, oh, cool, like, this guy is really cute, like, and fun, and I really like his content, so I followed him, and then I watched the first Sandersides. I wouldn't say I got into the fandom, though, until probably Accepting Anxiety time. But yeah, I was there at the beginning. I read a Dad Duke story, and it was really good. That might be the one written by the same person who wrote Every Time We Touch. I don't know. I know that they are writing one currently. I have yet to read it. I want to, but I just haven't had the time for it. In your Beauty and the Beast AU, who is Belle? Logan. Logan, it's a low seat AU, although it's platonic because Logan is Ace Arrow. Deceit, yeah, so Deceit's the Beast, but I changed a lot of details, so it's more like Beauty and the Beast flavored, rather than following the story exactly like Disney, because that's what I do. I will take, like, a setting or a story, and I'll just change it to fit the characters, rather than changing the characters to fit the story. That's kind of my thing. Do you like Undertale? If so, which characters of the sides most like? I've watched playthroughs of Undertale. I wouldn't say I was ever really in the fandom for it. But I don't know if I know the characters well enough to really answer that question, unfortunately. I think Remus would probably be Sans, just because he, like, is so mysterious, and I think it would fit Remus pretty well. But yeah. Writing style seems a bit different, but I can check. I'm assuming you're talking about the earlier episodes of Sandersides. If not, let me know. Yeah, well, the writing is definitely different in those earlier episodes. I mean, because he was never planning on making it a series to begin with. Like, it was just going to be a one-off, like, here's me. And then it became really popular, so he did more. And then I think Joan started helping writing on, I think, the Valentine's Day episode, and you can kind of see the progression of the writing changes from there, which I'm not complaining about. I love the way that the series has gone. I probably wouldn't have continued following it if it had stayed a silly 5-minute per episode series. I think it tackling these somewhat heavier topics is really nice, because I mean, it's still presented in a way that the kids or teens can understand, but, like, it, a slightly older audience can still enjoy it. And that's probably why I wasn't super into the fandom until, like, around Accepting Anxiety, because that was kind of when you could tell the story, like, was changing, and I enjoyed that, so, yeah. Random question number 12, fluffy or smooth? In what context? Like, talking about, like, food or like a blanket or like in what context? Because that will change my answer. Do you watch Umbrella Academy? No, I haven't. I don't even really know what it's about other than like superpowered teens, I think. And there's, I think, a violin player at one point. I could be wrong about that, but that's all I know. I'm not the biggest fan of live action / like real people shows. I don't know. I prefer animated stuff, cartoons or anime. I guess just because to me the medium makes it easier to suspend my disbelief a little bit. Because if it's a real, like real person, real people, real costumes, real whatever, it's a lot harder for me to get immersed in the story. So I don't really watch any real people stuff, to be honest. Blankets mainly. I mean, I don't really know what a smooth blanket is, so I guess fluffy. Well, the chat is on a little bit of a delay. It's not that it's slow, it's just that I see it a little bit later than, like, you guys are hearing me, like, I think it's up to, like, 30 seconds, like, 30 seconds back, so I've been spending too much time looking at fan art because when we saw the blooper video, my brain was like, that's not what Patton looks like. Yeah, I think it was also because of a lot of what Patton was, like, saying. He wasn't acting very Patton-like, which obviously in the bloopers he's not going to. But I found it really funny that, like, a lot of the bloopers were the other sides acting more like Remus than Remus acted like Remus in the bloopers. Oh, God, I love those bloopers. I don't really understand anyone who says that they can't watch the bloopers. Like, I understand if someone doesn't like Remus and they don't want to watch Dealing with Intrusive Thoughts, because I get it. It's a heavy episode. But, like, some people are like, oh, I can't watch it because Remus is in it. I'm like, Remus is not himself. It's Thomas in a costume acting like Remus, and, like, he doesn't even make the most dirty jokes. It's Joan off camera making the dirty jokes. It's not even Thomas making the dirty jokes. So, yeah, I don't understand. I've watched that video so many times, and it's great. I'll watch it a million more, I'm sure. Fluff or angst? Angst with a happy ending, I guess. Because Fluff has issues drawing me in a lot of the time because nothing happens sometimes. But with angst, it's a lot, I don't know, it's a lot easier to kind of have a catalyst for stuff, but I only really like reading it if it has, like, a satisfying ending. Do you watch Voltron? No, I haven't watched Voltron. I saw I was following a whole bunch of people who also posted other stuff, but they were following Voltron, and then the 8th season came out, and people started freaking out about how bad it was, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just not going to get myself into that dumpster fire. Like, whatever's happening in the fandom, I'm just going to not get into that. Tall Deceit or Short Deceit? Already went over it. I hate Short Deceit headcanons with a passion. I just really don't like them, and I can't explain why. So Tall Deceit it is. I think it's because I want him to be taller than me, and I'm decently tall. So, yes. Virgil swears less than Patton, including bloopers. Yeah, I can kind of understand that. I think while he's in Patton too, like, Joan almost seems to make more dirty jokes on the sidelines, which is kind of funny. I don't know why they do that, but I think that they do. Yeah, I don't know why Patton, like, it's kind of annoying when Patton gets this whole, like, oh, so innocent, he can't swear, he's such, like, a baby. Like, he is the moral side of a 30-year-old man, guys. Like, he's not, maybe he's a little naive, but he's not innocent in any sense, and he shouldn't be. He's not a child. You know, he has the heart of a child, but he's not a child. So, Patton can swear. Patton can say the F word if he wants. Yeah, I'm 5'8", and I'm done growing, so Deceit needs to be at least taller than me. So I usually make him just slightly taller than, or slightly shorter than Roman, because I think that that's funny. Would you ever do more stuff like Patton's Touch Starvation video? I'm assuming you mean like the content. I mean, maybe, but guys, I didn't write that fic. That was written by someone else on Tumblr. All their links are in the description. I didn't write that. So if another fic like that comes along and I like it, yeah, I'll read it on my channel, but I'm not gonna beg the author to write it, and I'm not gonna write it myself, because that I have other projects I'm working on. Like, if you want to write a Touch Starvation fic, go right ahead. But yeah, I get a little annoyed when people ask that, because if it was a fic that I wrote, maybe I would do another, but I didn't write it. So yeah, I might read more of that author's content because they're a good writer, and if something strikes my fancy, I might, once they finish their dad Remus AU, I might read that. I've got to actually read it myself though, but knowing Jinx, it'd be good. And I enjoy Responsible Remus and Creativity Twins bonding and stuff. It's fun. Fluffy Rose Seat was super cute, by the way. Yeah, that AU was fun. It was fun to kind of like world build in the background. And there's definitely still a story there. Don't know if I'll ever write it, but it's there. How many fanfics have you written? Are we counting ones that I like fully finished and posted, or not? Because I'm sure I've written plenty of things. Maybe not full fics, but definitely like little blurbs and stuff. I mean, I've been writing for God, almost, I don't even know how long, at least 10 years now. So, you know, I don't even know if I can count all the, like, I don't even know if I can give you a number because I don't know how I would quantify it, but I've written a lot. That's for sure. Random question number 13, drawing or coloring? I'd love to say drawing because I want to get better at that, but probably coloring at this point because I don't like my drawing style at the current moment. So you kind of sound like you're reading something right now. That's just my natural voice. That's just how I sound. Have you watched any musicals? If so, which is your fave? I've watched a couple Star Kid ones. Firebringer is good. It's gay, so I like it. I mean, there's the musicals that I did in high school, and went to go see in high school, like Anything Goes, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, Footloose is a good one. My high school did Les Mis. the year after I left, which I'm a little salty about, but I got to see it, which was really good. It was fantastic, actually. Yeah, I've listened to a lot more musicals than I've actually seen. I don't know, my favorite fluctuates. So I don't know if I can give you a favorite. I like Hairspray. I like Footloose. Les Mis is a classic. Always like that one. Yeah. Do you have Wattpad? No, I post on AO3 and I post on Tumblr. If you see any of my fic on Wattpad, it does not belong there, and you should tell me, please. Have you heard of Incorrect Quotes? Like the Tumblr, like the Sandersides Tumblr blog, or like just in general? Cause yeah, I've seen Incorrect Quotes posts. Not always a big fan of them. Some of them make me laugh, but some of them are just kind of like, eh. But I know of them. Have you heard of Dear Evan Hansen? Yes, I think it'd be kind of hard not to at this point, considering how many animatics there are of different songs from Dear Evan Hansen in the Sandersides thing. I have animatic in my head for Good For You, and of Anybody Have a Map, but again, I don't really like drawing, so my drawing style at the current moment. I wish I could draw more, because, yeah. Random question 14, can you do the Remus voice for a bit? The Remus voice kind of hurts. If you have something specific you'd like me to say in the Remus voice, I can try and do that. But I don't really want to just talk in my Remus voice, because it takes a lot of effort and it kind of hurts. Your drama group is doing a Hairspray musical. Yeah, I never did Hairspray, but it the music kind of pops up on my musical Pandora every once in a while, and it's really fun because it's just fun music. It's just like right now I'm looking into musicals that have like a lot of really fun dance music, because I need them for a scene in my Roll Swap AU. And so I have like a playlist of different like musicals, both of like kind of more like upbeat like dance to songs, and some more like down to earth like slow songs. And yeah, I really like Hairspray. It's fun. It's fun to dance to. Sometimes you just hear the song and you're just like, yes, I'm gonna like bop to this. What voice do you have the most fun doing? I mean, Remus's voice is fun, but like I said, it hurts a little to do it for too long. I really like doing Deceit's voice, because he's like not too different than my normal voice. It's a bit deeper. I try to keep it a little deeper, and I try to keep it a little smooth, just because, I mean, why would Deceit talk like in any other way? Yeah, I also enjoy Logan, probably because he's the closest to my own voice. Like, I don't really need to change much. Virgil's pretty fun too, because I can go really deep, and I'm just like, oh, come on, Roman, what are you even doing? Patton, I do enjoy. I have to push my range a little to do him, and he's like super high energy most of the time, so it's kind of hard to keep it going for long periods of time. Whoops, dropped something. Let me get my drink. Try and smooth out my throat a little. It's grape juice though, so it's not doing the best job at that. My school did a Peter Pan musical this year. I now know what post-show depression is. Yeah, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. And it's not fun. But there'll always be another show. Maybe not in high school. you know, but there's always college, there's always community theater, like there's always another show. Just waiting for you to go and find it. So that's kind of what I've learned. Obviously right now with the state of the world, I'm sure not a lot of theater is happening, which sucks because we were just ramping up to start doing the costuming for the play at my college, and now they're not going to be able to perform, which really sucks because, man, those actors work hard. I'm not an actor, but, like, God, I've seen how hard they work, and it's a lot. Alright, I can try and do the Remus voice for a little bit. How about, I'm just gonna pull up some lines from, I'm gonna see if I can pull up some lines from one of the fics that I'm working on. That won't be too many spoilers, but it's a little sneak preview for y'all. It sucks because, like, I'm gonna write a scene where, like, Remus talks a lot, but I haven't written it yet. So I can't read that. I don't know if I would anyways. That one's, like, gonna be kind of intense. I think I've discussed role swap here before. If not, quick backstory, just so you understand what I'm about to read. So my role swap AU is basically where the sides wake up one day and they all are a different like responsibility. So they aren't themselves anymore. They are a different side. So the way that I kind of interpret it is that their names are them, but and I don't really refer to them as their new title because it would be confusing otherwise. So, real quick, for the swap, this isn't really spoilers because you find it out in the first chapter, so, like, whatever. So, for a role swap, excuse me. Let's see. Remus became Morality. Otto, which is my orange side OC, who is normally Obsession. Otto became Roman's Creativity. Deceit, whose name is Ernest in this because I needed a human name for him. Ernest became Logic. Virgil became Obsession. Logan became Anxiety. Roman became Remus's version of Creativity, and Patton became Deceit. So just for clarity's sake, that's who everyone is, and kind of backstory a little bit to the chapter is that I think this is Remus's chapter. Yeah. So each chapter in the story is from a certain character's point of view for the most part. And they all go through different changes based on the side that they are, because, I mean, that's what happens when you become a different side. Things are going to get kind of thrown out of whack. How long is this scene? Oh, it's not that long. Okay. I can just read this bit then. Alrighty. Try not to ask too many questions in the chat because I won't be reading chat for a little bit, so I won't see them. Alright. The dull ache in Remus's stomach didn't go away, even after he raided the fridge and ate real food for the first time in years. It faded enough that he could mostly ignore it, but he couldn't get used to the feeling. He didn't feel pain. He didn't really feel anything, actually. His nerve endings were practically non-existent. He could suffer fatal injuries and hardly feel more than a pinch. Not to mention his stomach was tougher than steel. Their side of the mine didn't offer much in the way of proper food, and the other two usually deigned to just go without. But Remus never had any issue choking down what the kitchen provided. He'd even grown to enjoy the options. As himself, Remus had always privately mourned the fact that he couldn't feel much in the way of physical sensations. It made his dangerous escapades in the imagination so dull. It was hard to have fun when the stakes were so low. Now it felt like the universe had played a very cruel joke on him. "You look pleasant," Otto quipped at him as Remus shuffled into the common room and sank into the couch. Remus flipped him off and Otto snickered. "What? You're not having fun? You were so excited an hour ago." "I have to eat real food," Remus told him, and Otto rolled his eyes. "Oh, what a shame that is. Maybe E and I can finally eat dinner with you now." Remus groaned. Otto was joking about his plight and not taking him seriously, which wasn't out of the ordinary, but for some reason it hurt this time. He shook it off, staring at the other suspiciously. "Why aren't you in Roman's room? Don't you want to mess with his stuff?" Otto shrugged, crossing his arms. "I'd rather not go anywhere that he's been for any period of time. Waking up in his bed is bad enough. I'm surprised I'm not covered in glitter." "Are you sure? I think I see some sparkles in your hair." Remus laughed as Otto dramatically shook his head and his hair flew all over the place. "Nope, still there. Maybe that's just what being the worst creativity is like." Otto rolled his eyes and Remus continued to press him. "Seriously? You don't want to mess with his stuff at all? I bet he's got a diary stashed away somewhere in his room. We could totally find it and blackmail him with it." That's so moral of you to suggest, Remus. You're really taking this whole act like the side you've become thing to heart. Otto clapped slowly, sarcasm oozing from his words. Remus pouted. "Leave the snarky comments to Ernest. You're not good at them. And you're hardly one to talk. You haven't broken out into song once yet. And you haven't made a single dad joke. And I'm not going to," Remus said definitively. If Ernest thinks I'm going to act anything like Patton, then he's kidding himself. As if I could be anything like that sniveling, weak, goody two-shoes. "Tell me how you really feel, Remus," Otto deadpanned. "There's one thing I know about whatever happened to us. There is absolutely no way it was a conscious decision by any one of us, because they would have to be insane to put you in charge of Thomas's morality. Unless..." He narrowed his eyes and Remus grinned a cheeky smile at him. "Aw, you flatterer. You really think I'd be able to pull off something like this? It took years for Thomas to even acknowledge my existence, and I suddenly have the power to completely alter the very being of not just me, but all of us? I think you might be the insane one here, Otto." The white-clad side had to concede that point. Remus was insane enough to come up with an idea like this. There was no doubt about that. But Remus specialized more in the abstract. If the switch was his handiwork, Otto realized that they would probably all be sporting a lot more extraneous limbs. Considering they were mostly alright physically, meant that this had come about some other way. "You don't think Roman did it, do you?" Otto asked suddenly, and Remus barked a laugh. "Seriously? He's so boring. You really think he would come up with something like this?" Otto huffed, chewing his lip. "He's got more practical power than you, though. Thomas lets him have the run of the place. He could totally do this without anyone else knowing." Remus raised an eyebrow, coughing at a laugh. "You've met my brother, right? He can't keep his mouth shut for a fucking second when he does something he's proud of. Besides that, you think he'd give himself my powers?" "Well, you are also creativity. Maybe he thought it would be the closest thing?" Remus rolled his eyes. "You and I both know he'd rather cut his own arm off than have anything to do with me or what I do." Otto threw up his hands. "Well, then what's your theory, Remus? If you didn't do this, Ernest didn't, and Roman didn't, then who does that leave?" "I don't know." They glared at each other for a long moment before Otto stood from his seat on the couch and headed to the stairs. "Where are you going?" "To Roman's room. If he did this, then there's bound to be something that proves it. Notes or something. I will not be stuck doing someone else's job for any longer than I need to be." Remus watched him get to the landing. Then it dawned on him where this uncharacteristic anger had come from. "Otto, are you scared?" Otto gripped the banister, pausing for a moment. "What?" "You hardly ever get angry. You don't care enough to be angry. So why does this bother you so much?" The The side on the stairs turned his head, and his glare was icy. I think the better question is, why doesn't this bother you? Then he was gone, and Remus sighed, turning back to the center of the room and pondering how exactly he'd known how Otto was feeling. Normally, he was terrible at reading emotions and body language, but this time? Remus shook his head and refocused. Why did he even care? Sure, he'd known Otto for a long time and had once considered him his best friend, but that bond had fizzled and died years ago, and there was nothing between them now. Even still, his heart hurt at the idea that Otto wouldn't talk to him. He shrugged, pushing those thoughts away for the time being. If Otto was going to be difficult, Remus wasn't going to waste any time worrying about it. He had powers to try out, after all. Alright. For whoever wanted the Remus voice, I hope you're happy with that, because that's what you're getting. I didn't want to go too far in to the fic, even though I might have been able to find a better scene for his voice, because you'll get it eventually, and I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm going to keep it in the first chapter. But yeah, that's what you can look forward to once Roll Swap finally drops. I'm writing it completely before I release it, though, which is a good thing because I've had to rewrite basically a lot of Remus's chapter and like parts of the prologue and Otto's chapter as well, because even though I outlined pretty significantly, it still was not enough to figure out what I wanted to do. So there were quite a few times where I had to backtrack and fix things and change things in previous chapters so that I could go a different direction in later chapters. And I'm shifting, hold on. So yeah, that's my current project, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun, and I've kind of been able to just kind of explore a whole bunch of different stuff character-wise, especially with the dark sides, and kind of exploring how Otto and Remus's relationship changed over the years, how Otto and Deceit interact, because that is something that I've kind of didn't really get to touch on in I Am Creativity, which I'm sad about because their relationship is really interesting. And yeah, I've only written dark side chapters so far, partially because they have an easier time acclimating to their surroundings, but also because I love them, so I wanted to write them first. But yeah, I'm excited to share everything with you guys whenever it comes out, but I can't guarantee when, because I started it months ago and I still only have 3 chapters done now, and I'm working on chapter 4. Well, chapter 3 technically, but the 4th chapter, because the prologue's not numbered. So, and there's 9 chapters total with the prologue and the epilogue. So, yeah, I've got a lot to write still. For context, Otto's chapter, which is chapter 2/3 total, his chapter ended up being about 15,000 words, which at the time was half of the entire fic. So, yikes. At least I think it was that much. Yeah. Roll Swap is definitely going to be like a full-on book when I get to it. When I finally get it completed. Alright. Are there any other questions? Anything else you guys want me to talk about? pronouns. She or they, either one. And it would take me probably an hour to think of a dad joke. Like I said, I'm really bad at it. Hence why I'm really not good at writing Patton. Probably why Patton seems very serious when I write him, because I struggle with dad jokes and puns and stuff. My stream keeps like freezing in the corner of my eye. I hope it's not freezing too bad for you guys. I hope you can still mostly hear me. I saw someone ask earlier about Fluffuary. Maybe I would do something eventually like that again. But it was a lot. It was a lot on my energy, like, levels, and I was also working full time while I was working on it, and it was a lot. So if I did something like that, it would probably be a little more audience driven, rather than 29 or 30 fics written solely by me. Hence kind of why I started the writing contest, because it's a way to kind of get more people involved on the channel, rather than just it being just me. Something I found that helps when I'm writing Patton is to see him more like a child or younger character. See, the thing with that is he's very carefree and childlike, but writing him as a kid, again, I think, I mean, in terms of figuring out like puns and stuff, maybe that can help, but writing him like a little kid, I think, strips some of his nuance away, because Patton's not really, he's not a dumb character, and he's not like, you know, even really naive. I mean, he is, but like not in the way a child is naive, I guess. I don't know. I have some friends who are really good at making puns, so usually if I need that, I'll ask them, and I'll be like, this is like what they're riffing on, and they can give me like a bunch of puns, and it's great. So see ya. I mean, if there's no other like burning questions that you guys have, I'll probably end the stream pretty soon, because it is getting kind of late on my end, and I don't want to be, it's not that I'm tired, it's that I am up, and I don't want to like keep other people up in the house. The hardest thing for me is to write is coming up with unique nicknames from the twins. Yeah, I struggle with that too. Mostly because I don't really ever give anyone nicknames, so it's really hard for me. And yeah, but I also, I guess for me, I also don't do that. Not just because I struggle with coming up with nicknames, like I definitely do. But I think it's also because I dislike reading super overdone nicknames in canon. Because I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like kind of a pet peeve, where like, you know, 1 or 2 nicknames in the fic is fine, but like if it's every single line where they don't call each other by name. It's just like, you know, mostly between Roman and Virgil, like Roman to Virgil, coming up with nicknames. It's I don't know, it's one of those things where I really get irked if it happens too often. So I think that's probably also why I just avoid it altogether, because it irks me, so I don't do it in my own writing. I loved all your Fluffy content, even if it's not the exact same thing. I'm still excited. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know if I'll do an event kind of with a different theme at some point, or if I'll just continue these writing contests. The writing contest thing really depends on the amount of participation I get with the first one. You know, if I only get a couple of responses, like, I probably won't do one again in the near future, you know, because I posted a poll a couple weeks ago asking about interest in that, and, you know, I got like 300 or some responses, and like 200 of them said, yeah, I would post, and then I get, you know, 4 replies. So, you know, possibly I have, you know, like 100 people that are working on a fic and just are editing, and I'm gonna get flooded with responses, in which case I'll eat my words. But yeah, it, you know, audience engagement speaks volumes, I guess. So if there's something that you like, engage with it. What do you think of the theory about Deceit being Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls? Is that a real theory? I mean, I get the joke, like, they have the same color scheme, and they kind of have, like, the smooth villain thing going on, but, like, as a theory, it doesn't hold water, because he's not Bill Cipher. I think it would be an interesting, like, you know, thing, but I don't know if I would call that a theory. Definitely they share similar aesthetics. They probably shop at the same store. The same Mind Palace store. But yeah. Alright. Anything else, guys? I mean, like, I've seen it in AU style. Yeah, like, him in a Gravity Falls AU, now that we have actual twins, a Gravity Falls AU would work great. But, yeah, I mean, he definitely fits in that slot in a Gravity Falls AU, but I don't know. I also don't know how a Gravity Falls AU would work, because, like, you have the twins, but, like, they don't really fit into the roles of the twins, which, I mean, I guess Roman and Remus could be the uncles. That would be kind of funny. Like, Remus is Stan Lee, and Roman is Stanford. And you would have to change his motivations a little, rather than being purely science-based, and more like, I don't know, art-based. But it seemed like Bill Cipher kind of went for artists as well. Possibly. I don't know. You could make it work. But again, when I do AUs, I try to change the story around to fit the characters rather than the other way around. So, I don't know how well Gravity Falls AU would work, but I'm sure people have done it. And I'd like to see it. Having to sing the song that Bill does in his episodes, that'd be kind of funny. It fits. Need to hear Deceit sing at some point. Like, just, Thomas loves playing villains. You can really tell. And, God, I need to hear him sing as Deceit. It'd be I mean, it would basically be like Friends on the Other Side, but, like, specific to Deceit. which would be great. I need a seat song at some point, please. Alright. If there's nothing else, the chat's kind of dying, so I'm probably going to end the stream. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. I feel a little bit better. The world's still on fire, but it's fine. More content, maybe, coming soon. I don't know. Now that I'm home, I do have access to my brother's capture card, so maybe some gaming content might be coming, but it really depends. Either way, if you want to catch more frequent updates from me, you can either join my Discord server, the link is in any of my videos, and or you can follow me on Instagram, where I will be posting somewhat frequent updates of whatever projects I'm working on. So, yep, I will see you guys sometime later.